Okay, this is going to be lesson 5.2, and really it's a supplement to the lesson the other 5.2, so you see 5.2b on the pages. We added this to just start you guys getting used to the idea of how we express domain and range, and then we'll go kind of, I'm slightly backwards, but they're the same ideas on this lesson and the next lesson. It's just that these particular notes are going to be about what we would call a continuous function. So that's going to be the first answer, continuous function. And again, hard to write on this iPad. Apologize for that. And a continuous function looks like these graphs that you see down below in the examples. In order to talk about the domain is all x values, and the range would be all y values. Well, in a continuous function, we have to use the symbols less than, or equal to, more than, or equal to, and then just less than or more than. Alright, well, why do we need all of those? If you look at these graphs that you see, when we're talking about a continuous function, if we use a solid dot, then that means including the numbers at that point. When we talk about an open circle, it's not continuous there. We don't include that. So we would just use more than or less than that particular number. So let's see how that's going to work. Again, our domain is going to be just the x values, and so what I would do is I would go ahead and label my x's, and I would probably do it up here near where the dots are. So up here our x is a positive 1, and over here at this dot our x is a negative wrote down the wrong number on my page, sorry about that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our x value over here is a negative 9. And then our y value, well, let's finish our x first. Okay, so negative 9 being the smallest of those two numbers would go here. And then since that is an open circle, we would just use the less than symbol. Then we would write x. And our largest x value would be 1. It is a solid circle, so we use less than or equal to. So that expresses all the values on this section of line. Now let's look at our y values. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Our y values are going to be, the largest number is here at negative 1, and then the smallest number would be down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's also negative 9. So what we have here is negative 9 less than y less than or equal to. Remember, we have to use less than or equal to because we have the solid dot up here, and that's negative 1. Alright, let's try another one. Number 2. Note that we have two solid dots there, so that means we're going to be using less than or equal to all the way around. Here we have a negative 8 is our smallest x value, and a positive 2 is our greatest range or domain value. So our inequality would look like this: negative 8 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. The range, it's good to think of what would be the smallest value. The smallest value would be 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. And the greatest value would be a +1 here, just for the y's. We're looking at just the y's. And so you have -4 less than or equal to y less than or equal to +1. Number 3, x values. Biggest one is over here at +9, and our smallest one here is -1. So we'd have -1. It's a solid, it's a circle, an empty circle there at -1. So that would just be less than x. And then it's a solid up there at the 9, so that's going to be less than or equal to 9. Thinking about just y values, our smallest value is going to be a -1, and our largest value is going to be a positive, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we would have -1 less than y less than or equal to 7. Now these are two open circles, so we're just going to have less than or more than. Our x's, the largest value is a +2. The smallest value is a -6. So we'd have -6 less than x less than +2. Y values are going to be 1, 2, and -3 there, +1 there, so we'd have -3 less than y less than 1. Alright. And go on to the back side. Note that this has a solid circle there, and this is what would be called a ray in geometry, and that means it starts at a point and it keeps on going. So we write this one just a little bit differently. We look at the x value. Here it's a -3. And so we're talking about all x values getting bigger and bigger, because as you go to the right with x, it gets larger and larger. So we should say x is greater than or equal to a -3, because again the dot is solid where it begins. As we go down, y is getting smaller and smaller, and so we could write this a couple of different ways. We could write this the way I think of it, as 2 is greater than or equal to y, 2 being the y value here. And you could also, of course, write y is less than or equal to 2. Either one of those would work. That's the range. Domain is x, range is y. Solid dot, use the less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. If it's an empty circle, then we just use greater than or less than. Number 6, same idea, except we have empty circle and the graph is going the other direction. So we have a domain. This is a +5 on the x value. Count over 5. So you would have x is getting bigger, so it's x greater than 5. And then over here we have a y value of -2. Oops, sorry, -2 here. So our y is actually getting bigger as well. So y greater than -2. And 7 and 8 go back to using a couple of points. and I'll let you look a little more closely at this if you want to, and pause it. I'm just going to tell you that we would have negative 1 less than or equal to x less than 7. Again, over here at 7 we have an open circle, and here at negative 1 we have a closed circle. So that's why I use those symbols. Range would be negative 3. Let me get a better color here. Negative 3 less than y less than or equal to 2. Again, just thinking of what's my largest y value. Well, it's up here at the solid point, positive 2. Lowest value down here, negative 3. Think about what's the biggest number and what's the smallest number. That's why I'm writing it the way I am. Number 8, domain negative 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5. Again, note that we've got 2 solid dots there. And the range is negative 2 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 1. Alright, so there we go, domain and range of a continuous function. And we'll go in class after we talk about this just a little bit and go back to just the ordered pairs idea and how to list the domain and range for those. Have a good night.